of African migrants. So a hearing on the experiences of African migrants in New York City drew a crowd of more than 1,000 people, some of whom were reportedly under the false assumption that they would be getting work visas or even green cards. Then you got Representative Nicole Malliotakis. She said that the crowds who had descended upon City Hall in New York City, they had a sense of entitlement spurred on by the mayor's policies. So you have New York City Mayor Eric Adams basically defending the Big Apple as a sanctuary city for migrants months after he himself said that a border surge would destroy his city. So this is Mayor Eric Adams' take. Now, also commenting on this very serious, widespread issue was billionaire Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who he himself is an immigrant. And so Elon Musk said that he was in favor of legal immigration, being an immigrant himself. But for the billionaire tech giant, allowing a flood of millions of unvetted people into the United States illegally, he says it's insane. Now, what do you guys think about this? Is this insane? Should we just keep letting anybody come into the country? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, before we really get into this thing, guys, all I ask is that you take 1 second, hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. And also, thank you guys so much for always sharing these videos on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and the like. So I appreciate you guys. Now, still on the same topic here of migrants in New York City, NYC, I found a report from September mentioning like 41 people having been arrested at New York City's migrant Roosevelt Hotel in the span of like 4 months since the city turned this used to be swanky prohibition era hotel into a migrant shelter as of May of 2023. But most of the alleged crimes stemmed from domestic violence incidents. Definitely some scary folks. I mean, we don't know who's coming into the country, but some scary folks may be coming into the country. So, but meanwhile, in addition to the migrant situation, Congress is up to their old tricks again, all right? So meanwhile, in Congress, they just pushed through this $95.3 billion aid package that funds the fight against Russia, the defense of Israel, and of course, the resistance against China. So you got House Speaker Mike Johnson. He mentioned far-right Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and Republican rebels, especially saying that Greene unsuccessfully attempted to derail the deal with multiple amendments, including one that was actually meant to troll her critics, calling for the development of space laser technology on the southwestern border. Yeah. So we got CIA Director William Burns. I know how much you guys love the CIA. So CIA Director William Burns warned of just a few days ago that without additional U.S. military aid, the Ukraine could very well lose the war with Russia by the end of the year because it's basically running out of ammunitions at a rather alarming rate. So, and another thing that they were able to kind of like slip in there together with this foreign aid package is a TikTok ban that pretty much got a lot of people talking so far, right? So basically the House once again passed a bill that could ban TikTok from the United States unless its Chinese parent company ByteDance divests it. Part of the package of the foreign aid bill seeks to provide military aid to the Ukraine and Israel and humanitarian aid to Gaza. And honestly, a ban on the TikTok company owning TikTok, some folks are saying it makes a lot of sense. What do you guys think? Do you think that there should be a ban on this Chinese company owning TikTok? Do you think that whoever owns TikTok needs to keep, they're good doing whatever they're doing? Let me know what you guys think. Gary Owens, what's going on, man? Yes, I did actually get some sleep. I totally appreciate you, brother. So, yeah, it's been a while, several days. But for starters, the Chinese government is blocking every major American web and social media company. We're talking about Meta, we're talking about Google, Twitter, X. It's really unfair if you think about it, that China, a very powerful adversary of the United States, can just kind of wage its influence on American citizens. Meanwhile, kind of like barring American web companies from their shores. Like, That part's really not fair. And this is just one of the reasons that we're going to get into later. But definitely stick around. I got a lot I want to share with you guys today on this one. But first, the throngs of African migrants gathered outside New York City Hall. Take a listen here.
Now, hundreds of illegals gathered outside of City Hall today ahead of a New York City Council hearing on what's called the Black Migrant Experience. Now, the goal presumably was to better understand how the city is addressing language access barriers, cultural competency challenges, health needs, and other roadblocks that the so-called newcomers face.
I am surrounded right now by hundreds of illegal immigrants from New Guinea and also from Haiti, all right? So majority single men from Africa. We have been told as American citizens that all of these people are coming into our country because they are seeking asylum, but every single migrant that I've spoken to today has talked about how they are here simply to work.
Joining me now, Savannah Hernandez, Frontlines reporter.
So it sounds like most of the migrants that we have coming into the country, or at least from what we're seeing, are like single males that are looking to make money here. They're not really, women and children seeking asylum like it was kind of like marketed toward us, What do you guys think about that? It's a little bit alarming, to say the least, for a lot of folks. Now, apparently, they were gathered there for the city council hearing on the Black Migrant Experience. But Americans, they're complaining how we can't fix our own homeless problem, but yet we're going to give homeless shelters to illegal migrants or illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. Some of the people gathered there were even reported under the false impression that they would be getting work visas or even green cards. And one source actually said that the crowd was mostly comprised of newly arrived male migrants from the West African nation of Guinea. So the hearing comes as an influx of increased illegal immigration has put a lot of strain on New York City's resources. In fact, late last year, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he warned that the city was reaching its breaking point. I think we're probably even beyond that point at this time. What do you guys think? Are we past the breaking point? I mean, what's really going on, y'all? So, even more recently, he said that a border surge would destroy New York City. A border surge, guys. Representative Nicole Malliotakis also commented how the crowds who descended on City Hall, they had a sense of entitlement spurred by the mayor's policies. Well, what do you think? You market your city as, hey, come here, you're going to get a bunch of free stuff. You can, you can take advantage of our taxpayer paid benefits. Stay in luxury hotels for free. You can get, amazing jobs here that probably pay 10 times what you're getting paid where you're at. And you can also squat in New York City American residents' homes for free and essentially steal the real estate assets right out from under the legal owners. So why wouldn't an illegal person want to take advantage of all of these benefits, right? So anyway, they feel entitled. She also pointed out how citizens of other countries believe that American citizens struggling to pay for a roof over their heads, they are somehow responsible for housing the illegal immigrants indefinitely. Does that sound fair, guys? So you got Tesla CEO Elon Musk also commented on Twitter, on X, how even for him, who's an immigrant himself, allowing a flood of millions of unvetted people to enter the United States illegally it's insane. And just to show you guys, the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City was turned into a migrant shelter back in May of 2023. Now, come September, they've reported at least 41 people having been arrested at the Roosevelt Hotel for domestic violence incidents. I mean, come on, you're staying in a hotel for free, a luxury hotel for free, after you've come into the country illegally and you can't even behave. I mean, like, what's up with that, right? Arrests at the site have included an asylum seeker accused of bashing an employee in the head with a no parking sign in June after the worker chucked him from the building for being unruly. And then the worker ended up with a 6-inch gash on the side of his head. And then you got Mayor Eric Adams. He made an unannounced visit to the hotel a few days after the incident just to kind of survey the situation himself. So other migrant shelters have had issues as well. This is not the only one, but this is one that a lot of people are familiar with. And a lot of folks, New Yorkers, people who either visit New York, have relatives in New York, or, they're just angry. And, how could you blame them? A 20-year-old migrant woman was arrested for allegedly slapping an NYPD officer who was attempting to confiscate her unregistered motorbike in front of the Stratford Arms Hotel on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Now, the woman, who had also been arrested in July for allegedly attacking her boyfriend, was freed without bail the next day. So this is why crimes continue to escalate in New York City. There's no punishment. If you get, what is that, timeout? You get arrested for doing something and then they let you go the next day with no bail. This is effectively like kindergartners sitting in timeout. Like, do you really expect, people to respect your laws when there's no consequence? So, and yet, New York City Mayor Eric Adams continues to defend the Big Apple as this amazing sanctuary city for migrants, just months after he said that a border surge would destroy New York City. Unbelievable, right? Now, something something definitely has to be done here. This is not a sustainable situation here. It's not sustainable. New York was already overwhelmed with, with people before this migrant situation really exploded, and it's only going to get worse. And you want to talk about the rats? I mean, it's New York City is getting dirtier and dirtier simply because there's only so much there's only so much real estate there. There's so many people coming in, and there's so much waste, and a lot of people are just not necessarily cleanly. It's a mess. So, but let's look at Congress for a second. They seem to be preoccupied with passing a little bit more foreign aid to Israel, to Ukraine, and to Taiwan, not to mention the TikTok bans. Got a lot of people talking about that, right? So like I mentioned earlier, while New York City is dealing with major migrant crises and asking for help, Congress, on the other hand, is laser focused on passing the foreign aid bill for Israel, for Ukraine, and for Taiwan. Now, we've got House Speaker Mike Johnson. A lot of people are mad at him. A lot of people are upset with Mike Johnson, calling him a traitor. But House Speaker Mike Johnson last weekend crushed an offensive far-right Marjorie Taylor Greene and Republican rebels, pushing through a $95.3 billion aid package that funds the fight against Russia, the defense of Israel, and of course, the resistance against China. Now, lawmakers, in a very rare bipartisan effort, overwhelmingly approved this 4-bill package, including one measure providing $60.8 billion for Ukraine. Now, I know how happy you guys are probably to hear about all this money going over to Ukraine, right? Strong sarcasm. Lisa B, appreciate you checking in with me today. Yes, we are live. I see a couple of you guys asking if we're live. Yeah, we're live. It's Sunday, 2:03 p.m. Eastern time. Let's see. Pauline says Elon Musk was vetted. He makes jobs and does contribute to our society. Exactly. Thank you. So about 80% of that money that they passed will be going toward replenishing supplies of U.S.-made weapons and ammunitions and other direct military assistance. So we're talking about likely talking about companies like Raytheon, maybe Boeing, Northrop Grumman, likely to benefit from this foreign aid package. These are the types of companies that the United States typically goes to for these types of military support materials. But another $9.5 billion is in the form of a forgivable loan. So that bill passed 311 to 112 with all of the nay voters coming from the Republicans. So basically, the Democrats basically passed this thing, and including Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was hailed as Moscow Marjorie by members of both major political parties. Yeah, Moscow Marjorie. Anyway, but really, according to my uncle, who I always talk about this stuff to, He feels like the news here is that the House did anything. Like, but what do you guys think? I mean, other comments that I read online are basically saying something like, where's the $95 billion for the homeless and the veterans here? And I think they have a point here. We already had a significant homeless problem before this massive illegal immigration problem that we're dealing with now, and it's only gotten worse. Mike Johnson told reporters that the foreign aid package, which it assists Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and other allies, it's not perfect, but it's desperately needed because it's a dangerous time for Americans. Well, it's interesting he says that because essentially none of this money goes to America. And according to Mike Johnson, 3 of our primary adversaries, Russia, Iran, China, they're all working together. And they're a global threat to our prosperity and our own security here. And their advance threatens the free world, and it demands American leadership. Now, CIA Director William Burns also warned before the vote that without additional U.S. military aid, Ukraine could very well lose the war with Russia by the end of the year because it's running out of ammunition at a very alarming rate. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, he thanked Johnson and other House members who voted to assist his country, basically saying it keeps history on the right track. But what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? Now, in addition to the Ukraine support, a measure in the bill provides roughly $17 billion in direct military aid for Israel and a little over $9 billion in humanitarian aid for Gaza and other war-torn regions that are a lot smaller, but, a lot of money going over there. Now, a third amendment provides $8 billion for the Indo-Pacific region to help ward off China, and about half of which is set aside for Taiwan. Now, a fourth bill includes many Republican priorities that are also endorsed by the Democrats, including a ban on TikTok if its Chinese-based owner doesn't give up ownership of the very popular app, and allowing the U.S. to seize about $5 billion in frozen Russian central bank assets in order to rebuild the Ukraine. Now, that TikTok ban is definitely something worth talking about. It's getting real popular in terms of Google searches right now. I think I saw like 20,000 Google searches, and it's ranking like number 9 on Google Trends. And so basically this bill would force the Chinese conglomerate ByteDance to sell TikTok to a buyer that's not a foreign adversary. Or if it doesn't do that, it could face a ban in the United States. And so now, since it's included in the foreign aid package, they might actually push it through the Senate with limited debate. But we're going to have to see about that. But here's why a lot of people are saying that TikTok ban, that we need this sooner rather than later for both our kids, for our country. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and share these reasons with you guys, but I want you guys to listen to these reasons, and you let me know if you think these are valid reasons for why we need to ban TikTok here in the United States. So one, they're saying like for the good of our kids and our country, it's crucial to pass strong laws quickly. But here's why they're saying that this is needed, plus an alternative plan to improve the relationship between the United States and China. So the first one is they're saying that the Chinese government blocks every major American web and social media company. We're talking about Meta, we're talking about Google, X, Twitter, etc., right? But still, their country manages to influence American citizens with the help of the TikTok platform. Now, that's one reason. Let me know if you guys agree, disagree with that one. The second reason that they're saying that we need to ban TikTok here in the United States is there's already a precedent for forced sales. So in 2020, the dating app Grindr, it's kind of a interesting name for a dating app, Grindr. Sounds like a hookup app, if you ask me. But anyway, in 2020, the dating app Grindr was forced to be sold from its Chinese owner after the U.S. expressed some data security issues. I mean, the U.S. has laws that stop foreign ownership of broadcasting companies. So They're saying, like, why should China have control over what we see on our phones and our laptops when we don't allow them to do that with our TVs and our radios? So that's the argument on that one. So there's a third reason. They're saying that TikTok has a history of severe data privacy issues. Now, I don't know if you guys have personally experienced anything like that, but, sure, American social media companies, they collect data too, but they're saying that TikTok has gone too far. In 2022, ByteDance staff were discovered. They were basically discovered by spying on U.S. journalists that were covering the company, using data from the reporters' TikTok accounts to kind of suss out their sources. Now, back in 2023, TikTok employees, they got caught sharing American users' personal information with ByteDance in China, including driver's licenses and addresses. Oh, and by the way, under China's national intelligence law, Chinese firms must submit any information demanded by their government, including data on foreign nationals. Now, I really don't think that's all that different than what we do here. I mean, like, if an American company got subpoenaed by the U.S. government, they're going to have to hand over the data too. So I don't personally think that's that different than what we would do here. But they're saying that this has led to the United States government banning TikTok from all government devices. So what's going on, Guadalupe Rubino? What's going on, brother? So the fourth reason that they're saying that they need to ban TikTok here in the United States is TikTok is a tool for spreading propaganda and misinformation, often used by the Chinese government. But I think a lot of people here would call out many news stations for doing the exact same thing, spreading their own propaganda here, spreading their own misinformation. And you guys tell me, can you name one news station that spreads propaganda, that spreads misinformation here in the United States that's US based? Please, if you can think of any, let me know in the comment section down below, because I think it's rather interesting that they call out TikTok for doing this. But it's one of those pot calling the kettle black situations, if you ask me. But anyway, going on to the reasons why they're saying that they should ban TikTok. FBI Director Christopher Wray warned that TikTok could be used to influence American users or even control their devices. I see some of y'all saying CNN, a lot of y'all saying CNN, some of you guys saying NBC, ABC, CBS. Oh my God. But American social media platforms might promote harmful content, but they don't have a governmental agenda driving their overseas decisions. And they're saying that this is a major difference between what they do here and what they're doing over in China. And of course, the fifth reason is that they're saying TikTok. They're saying TikTok puts American youth at risk. It has 170 million users, and a third are 14 years old or younger. That's like 50 to 60 million American children whose data is being collected and whose minds are being influenced. Not to say we don't do any influencing here, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, in China, TikTok's version for kids, Douyin, provides educational content. It limits their screen time, but here in the West, basically TikTok shows trending videos that are often shallow or even sexually explicit. Not that you can't find the exact same thing on YouTube or Twitter or even Facebook. So, I think it's kind of like splitting hairs in some of these arguments. It's kind of not surprising that kids in China do aspire often to become astronauts, while here in America, kids want to be social media influencers. I don't know if that's necessarily a good or a bad thing. Yeah, depends on what your goals are. I don't think everybody over in China, I don't think every kid wants to be a freaking astronaut, but whatever. But given all of this, the question is, what is stopping legislation from moving forward? Well, of course, politics. Now, some Democratic strategists warn that banning TikTok could hurt youth voter engagement, but these worries might be a little bit exaggerated. Funny enough, though, the same group of folks who want to ban TikTok, the Democrats mainly, Biden's trying to use TikTok to promote himself, to campaign, to win the 2024 presidential elections. But a Biden campaign advisor recently mentioned that their youth turnout program isn't overly dependent on TikTok. Go figure. Maybe Biden just, maybe Biden's just mad. He can't quite figure out how to use TikTok. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. But opponents of the ban, they're saying it could limit free speech and it could lead to legal battles. Not to mention, there's a lot of Americans that use TikTok for entertainment and they even make a living from it. They're paying their rent. They're paying their mortgages off of TikTok. They are running TikTok businesses. So, this could actually hurt a lot of Americans who use TikTok for an income source. And so these are legitimate concerns. However, users have shown that they can adapt. You got MySpace users, they moved on over to Facebook. Vine users moved over to YouTube. And they're saying, actually, Vine users moved over to YouTube and TikTok. But if TikTok goes away, I guess YouTube will get all that extra business. So I guess that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for YouTube or Google. And Skype users, they went over to Zoom. So, now they're saying that TikTok's growth in the United States is already slowing. So maybe people will migrate on their own. But the thing is like TikTok's growth, it might be slowing, but I mean, once everyone gets on the platform, you can't grow forever. We don't have like an infinite loop of people, forever, Anyway, so alternatively, there is a fresh idea. If China lifts the ban on American web companies, then TikTok can stay in the United States untouched. So wouldn't that be a great gesture toward, possibly better relations? Now, some people are saying that this bill is not going to go anywhere because the losers in the Senate, their words, not mine, still won't do anything, especially the Democrats. But I feel like day by day, America is becoming more and more under threat. What do you guys think? I'm going to jump in the comments. I want to see what you guys are saying. I don't know how many people we have in this live here. Let me see. How many people are in the live right now? Can we get that many people hitting the like button, sharing this video on Facebook, Twitter, and whatnot? How many people we got in here? We got a huge $10 super chat from my man, Anthony Janal. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So Anthony says, if I was the devil, I would give every child a smartphone with TikTok installed. Get rid of it. All right. Appreciate your take on that one. I do appreciate you. Man, we got almost 600 folks in here. Awesome. How are you doing on this Sunday afternoon? We got Keenan Ripon. What's going on, Keenan? Let's see. We got Tony Bosley. We got Diana Hedges. Yeah. What's going on? Camel coated cutie. Let's see. I'm sorry. Caramel coated cutie. Sorry, I misread that one. We got Fed Up Patriot. What's going on? I'm going to do my best to keep bringing the truth to you guys. Pauline, love YouTube. Awesome. Let's see who else we got in here. Agape Love said, repent, Jesus is coming. Who else we got in here? Joe Weir says, this is what happens when you vote blue. Who in here is planning to vote blue? Who in here is planning to vote otherwise? Let me know in the comments. Let's see what we got. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday afternoon. Let's see. Okay. So Melissa Fountain says, oh, Ron, raising kids in the 90s. Who stopped them from calling 1-900 numbers or leaving the house or accepting wrong friends, making wrong choices, cannot legislate your children's choices? True. I mean, it's like, I feel like sometimes they want to, they create these excuses to do what they want to do anyway, but you can't prevent, you can't stop your children from exercising common sense and having good judgment. Because at the end of the day, even if you got rid of TikTok, something else can come up and there will inevitably be something that your child has to use their own brain and their own judgment to either do or not do. So I totally feel you. On that, yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys rocking with me today. Hit the like button if you haven't already. I've got a lot more content that I'm going to be bringing to you guys later today. Again, thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing and hitting that notification bell. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Y'all be safe.